How many weeks celebrates Australia's cultural diversity? One way of experiencing another culture is through their food. At AbbVie, we're certainly no strangers when it comes to culinary delights. Today, we have the privilege of sampling some of these from Liz, Sandro, and George, and to get to know their culture a little better.
So I was born here in Australia,
Yep.
but both my parents are South Korean, so I've got Korean heritage. So this one here is called bulgogi, which is a marinated beef mixed with veggies. And this one is called japchae, which is sweet potato noodles mixed with veggies as well.
So is that all we have today?
No, there's just one thing missing.
Oh,
So
now
we've
this is
got-
very familiar.
Yes, so it's kimchi, which is fermented cabbage. It's a staple for all Korean food. You know, all the spices and things are added. It's kept in the fridge for a little while until it's ready to eat.
So tell me your fondest food memory.
You know, despite growing up here, every night for dinner, it was always a home-cooked Korean meal. You know, for lunch, it was always sandwiches and things like that. But I love the bulgogi and japchae, but I also love, you know, the stews, beef ribs.
And I do sort of like the whole idea of a Korean banquet where it's never just a one dish, and it's always like plates and plates of food, and you know, pickles alone can probably fill up this whole table. Right, shall we take this to the table and try and eat this?
Yes, let's go
Great.
for it.
Sandro, thank you for joining us today. Tell me, where in France are you from?
So I was born in Paris, but my roots are from the southwest of France. So it's a region called the Basque Country.
What is the south of France sort of known for?
Foie gras, which is very famous, but it's also very close to the Spanish border. So there's a lot of tapas food.
Tell me your fondest food memory.
So when you're a kid, you love cakes, and there's so many variety of cakes in France. And just the trip to the boulangerie in France is like the best thing I remember from France. Yeah.
What sort of French food do you like to cook?
Maybe something I brought today. You'll see.
Oh, should we have a look?
Yeah. So, I brought a quiche today.
You made this from scratch.
Yes, so including the pastry, obviously.
What type of pastry is it?
It's puff pastry, and I got the recipe from my grandmother.
I made a puff pastry once in my life when I was a young teenager learning how to cook from an auntie, and I remember the layers of butter and the rolling and whatever. So, and this is your cheats version.
Because I can do this pastry in like 5 minutes. So.
Oh, fantastic!
It's called the 770 pastry.
Now, why 770?
Okay, 7 spoons of flour, 7 spoons of oil, and 10 spoons of water. That's the beauty with quiche. You can pretty much use anything you've got in your fridge. So this one is like zucchini, tomatoes, and prosciutto. But then you put ingredients. So the secret is to put the ingredients on the pastry before you pour the filling. That's what's not going to make it soggy.
Now, quiches can be eaten hot and cold.
And it's perfect for picnic or taking to the beach, you know.
Should we
Let's go.
eat some of this?
Thanks,
Thank you. Thanks for joining us, George. Now, tell me a little bit about your background, your cultural background.
My background is Egyptian. Both my parents are from Egypt. Mum's from Alexandria, dad's from Cairo. I was born here. But yeah, it's just been full of exciting and loud people, to be honest.
I actually don't know much about Egyptian food. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, it's actually very heavy food. Vine leaves, so just wrapped, it's rice with some meat, wrapped in vine leaves. There's a lot of pasta sort of with bechamel sauce. So a lot of meat and carbs, not a lot of veg, that's for sure.
So there's actually quite a lot of sugary, sweet, you know, sickly in a great way, because I love sickly sweet desserts. Tell me
Tell
more about the desserts.
One I've got today actually is that. So it's called basbousa, and it's like really sweet with the syrup.
I think we need to see this dessert, George.
Awesome, let's get it. Alrighty. So this is called basbousa.
Basbousa.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's a traditional Egyptian cake. So it's got semolina, it's got coconut. Basically, you bake it up with there's a bit of yogurt in there as well. Bake it up with the toasted nuts on top, and then basically take it out, and you on the side you've done a syrup, like with some honey, some sugar, some water, and some lemon, and then you basically drown the cake in the syrup.
I can probably imagine us sort of having this in the busy sort of streets of Cairo, you know, the hustle and the bustle, you know, like the sounds of the hangar really at AbbVie. So I think we should eat this. shall we?
I think so. Let's do it.
So now that you've tasted some of these cultural delights, perhaps now is a good time to get to know your colleagues a little better